imagine how uncomfortable the costume in this picture was. You might see this picture and think that it's silly or funny, but there's a deeper story to it. During my first week of high school, I was volunteering for Key Club at a local festival. It was my first volunteer event, and even though I thought it was silly or funny, this small act actually changed me forever. At our booth, the Salmon Bake, we were raising scholarships for local high schoolers. And my job was to walk around in this costume and advertise our event. Now, as a young high school girl and a cardboard fish, I had spotlight syndrome. I thought people were staring at me and probably laughing too. But then my eye caught this pink, puffy parka. She could have been taller than a 2-liter Coke bottle. This little girl saw me and she smiled. I waved at her and she waved back. It was a simple exchange, but I realized that I wasn't alone in the crowd. I looked around me and my perspective shifted. People were smiling at me instead of laughing, and I started smiling back at them. Some of them even approached me and asked me what the costume was for, and then they went to support our scholarship fund. Because of my simple exchange with this little girl, I realized how much of a difference one act could make and how one smile could change a perspective forever. Ever since, community service has been my passion, but now I'm even more passionate about spreading that love for service with others. Now, my story all begins with a secret. I have inflammatory bowel disease. Some of you might know it as Crohn's disease and colitis. When I was 9 years old, I started getting really sick, and the doctors didn't know why. And finally, a year later, around my 10th birthday, the doctor called me and gave me a diagnosis. Not what I asked for my birthday, but I now had this chronic illness that would change me forever. At first, I didn't understand how serious this disease really was, but I was told not to tell anyone because kids might not like that I was different now. When I entered middle school, though, it became hard to hide my illness. I went to the hospital a lot. I missed school. I gained weight to the point of obesity, and I felt so sick all the time. I finally understood how serious this disease really was and how it felt like to be different, kind of like a freak. Can you imagine how that felt, to be alone and afraid? I felt so different from everyone, and it pushed me into a pit of depression. I felt guilty for being sick, for being different, even for missing school and not being able to hang out with my friends anymore. And that isolated me. I felt like I couldn't talk to anybody or connect with anyone anymore. My parents thought that online support groups would help, and those online groups gave me connection and information, but only on social media. I needed a real-life connection. So the summer before my freshman year, I attended camp for kids with my illness. It was called Camp Oasis, and I met some of my best friends in the whole world. I felt rejuvenated, connected, and happy even. We learned how to be resilient and find the positives in this disease. I finally felt hopeful after a long time. But that hope didn't last. Back to school season began, and I started my first few weeks of high school. I could already feel myself being pulled down again because I hadn't made any real friendships around me. But then my Savior came to rescue me. My sister was president of a lot of service clubs, and she gave me some of the most valuable advice I hold to this day. She said that the friends that you make in your service clubs are the ones that will be friends with you throughout high school and beyond. Those are the clubs that will shape you, and those are the friends that will matter. So choose your clubs wisely. My parents were telling me to to join clubs too to build an impressive college app. In fact, my whole family was pressuring me. But I pushed back in defiance, and I joined a lesser-known club instead. I joined this new club because it was the first one on the catalog that said fun. I wanted to have fun for once, and not focus on my academic life or the pressure of my illness. I went to the clubs that I wanted to go to, and I made the friends that I wanted to make. It felt independent and good. Now, later on, I would realize that I wasn't being so rebellious because there were still service clubs. But this small act of defiance actually changed my perspective, just like that volunteer event with the little girl had. Service clubs taught me how fun volunteering can be. And I finally established real, genuine, and close connections again. Putting myself in the service of others helped me find happiness and confidence. I spoke in front of thousands of people about my passion. I went on walks for charities, and I even went to conventions to meet kids who also loved volunteering. I couldn't even have the time to focus on being sick. There was so much good going on. Life was moving forward. I was going on adventures, and everything finally seemed like it was falling into place. But then Nina happened. This is Nina. She was beautiful, she was nice, and she was new. Nina had just moved here from Canada, and she seemed like another new kid. But there was more to her than people could see. At the beginning of my sophomore year, my family got a call from my school. My dad called me down for a family meeting, and he said, "Sargun, baby, someone from your school died today." I was shocked. All I could get out was, "What? Who?" They didn't know, so I ran upstairs, locked myself in my room, and texted everyone I knew to find out who it was. And then I found out. It was Nina, a beautiful, amazing girl, my friend, and it crushed me. She was on the soccer team, and she had great friends. Nina seemed like a normal teen. Little did I know that she was battling mental illness. The few people that I had known who had committed suicide had Crohn's disease just like me. But Nina's death shook me the most. She didn't even have Crohn's. I didn't know what was going on with her depression or what led her to take her own life, but it reminded me of my own struggle and my own depression. I used to be so focused on things that used to seem important to me, like homecoming or the SATs. But that night, I wondered what homecoming dress Nina would have wanted to wear, or what college Nina would have wanted to go to. That night, I went on every social media platform to attempt to find solace with my peers. I found heartwarming posts like, "Rest in peace, Nina," or "She's in a better place now." And at first it made me feel relieved, like we were trying to mourn together. It made me feel like a part of that, a part of something. Some of us were even planning to wear black the next day and prepare a vigil. But then the next day came, and everything was going back to normal. Around school, teachers said that if we needed to talk to them, we could, but the topic wasn't up for discussion. The subject was dismissed in less than 5 minutes. And when I went in the hallways, it seemed as if nothing had even happened. It was surreal. And when I went home on social media, I saw the Snapchat and Instagram stories disappear one by one, as if the suicide was only grief-worthy for 24 hours. And then I realized something then. Teens have learned how to communicate through cyberspace, not reality. We express ourselves through shorthand texting and emojis. Social media may connect us at times, but this time it disconnected us from reality, from the impact of Nina's death. What connects us in times of hardship isn't social media. Because I knew that. I knew better. And what I want to bring to you today is another light, a new sense of connection, something that starts more locally, community service. Because I knew better, because I had been there, because when I came back from camp, I felt my connection from social media fade. I felt my connection from those online support groups virtually disappear. But the only other time that I felt so connected was through volunteering. And that's when I realized that community service is the bridge. I've shared Nina's story today and how hers affected mine to carry on her legacy. Because there may be a Nina in the audience right now, someone who's struggling with depression right now. And let me tell you, you're not alone. I was a Nina at one point. The person sitting on your right and sitting on your left was a Nina at one point. We all feel alone and afraid, but social media hides that because it gives us a false sense of perfection and connection. Community service, though, gives us a real sense of connection. Volunteering allowed me to take control of my own life, and that's what I want to share with you. However, when this talk is over, life goes on and everything goes back to normal. And isn't that easy? To be inspired for a day, but then just to go back to the same old routine? But that's not why you're here. We're here to see how we can change the future. So let's take the first step. Instead of asking teens what they want to do when they grow up, ask them what they want to do now. Because this gives them the power to take control of their own futures. And I know thousands of teens who do that through the hashtag #TheySay movement. This global movement is about how some people say that teens can't make change. They say that we don't have the power to control the future. And I used to feel the same way. I felt like I couldn't do anything about Nina or my disease. I can, though. But I can't do it alone because one person can't do everything, but everyone can do something. So teens, we've spent our whole lives copying adults. But you know what? Be a voice, not an echo. Try volunteering out and see not only what it does for others, but what it will do for you. Community service did so much for me. It's the medicine that heals me. It's what pulled me out from my own depression and what pulled me forward during that low point in my life when I learned that Nina had died. You don't have to have a chronic illness like I do or be a victim of suicide like Nina to be hurting. Everyone feels pain. Let volunteering heal you too. Let it bring out the best, most beautiful version of you and your community. Why? Because I don't believe community service is the right thing to do. I believe it's the best thing to do. Thank you.